have a solid S9 noise level. Thank you, neighbor. He's got a noisy lighting system, and normally he'll turn it off. He has not done so. Maybe he's not near his cell phone. Anyway, I'm going to try to copy whomever, so please give me your call sign for checking in. This is K6KY.
WZIP. Copy me, Gary?
K6ZTA.
Okay, I got K6ZTA, and I've got, Ron, was that you?
It's me. Yeah.
Okay, K2RP, and who else is there?
KB7LOQ, John.
KB7LOQ, that's Art, correct?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Art. On to the next one.
WA7BIP.
I'm going to be out there selling a car right then.
There's somebody there, but you're under my S9 noise level. Maybe a little bit of help.
WA7BIP.
WA7BIP. And who is next?
November 6th, Whiskey Hotel Kilo.
November 6th, Whiskey, what was it?
Hotel Kilowatt.
I think it was.
Okay, and you're in Lemon Grove, right?
La Mesa, part of, close to Lemon Grove.
That's what it is.
Very good, I've forgotten your name.
The handle is Phil, Papa Hotel India Lima.
I should have known that, Phil. We've talked a number of times, but I've been away. I was in Europe playing, and I forgot a lot of names, so I think I remember my own. Who else is there?
Yeah.
Kilo India 6, Charlie Sierra Alpha.
Charlie Sierra Alpha. What was the prefix?
Kilo India 6, Charlie Sierra Alpha. Chris,
nice and strong. You're way above my S9 noise level. Anybody else?
Whiskey 8, Victor Golf.
Whiskey 8, Victor Golf, and I need help with your name.
Name is George, and we're out here in Tucson.
Very good. Well, you've got a strong signal, George. You're coming in quite well. You're coming in between the raindrops here in Southern California. Who else is there?
Whiskey 6, Victor Lima Zulu.
Anybody else?
Whiskey 6, Victor Lima Zulu.
W4J.
Oh my goodness, it's actually over S9 now. It's my noise level is a little over S9, so I'll try one more time. Maybe there's somebody buried under the noise. K6KY.
Whiskey 6, Victor Lima Zulu.
Okay, well did anybody else hear somebody?
There was a Victor Lima something that was trying.
Victor Lima something. Give it a try. K6KY.
Whiskey 6, Victor Lima Zulu.
I don't hear anything but noise.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, W6 Victor Lima, and I didn't get the last letter. He's weak here. Last letter Zulu. All right, yeah, Zulu is the last letter. Victor Lima Zulu, W6VLZ. Okay, John?
Very good. Vaughn, is he a newcomer? Ask him and what his name is.
Yeah, Victor Lima Zulu. What's your call? I mean, what's your handle? And are you new to the sideband roundtable? Over.
Yes. Name is Sean. New to the roundtable. I'm in Fresno, California.
I just have fallen in love with this antenna, and I think Mark, you're running one, and Chuck's running one.
Okay, he's in Fresno, I believe, and his handle is Sean.
This works.
Very good. And is this his first check-in?
I don't think so. I missed that. It didn't quite come through.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, well, I've got him on the list. And anybody else? K6KOI.
Hello, John. K6KOI. K6 little green light. Good evening.
Well, your little green light is shining through the S9 noise, Skip, so I do copy you, and good evening. Anybody else?
Well, good. I'm glad you got it up. I know you can.
Well, let's say hello to one another and turn it over to Vaughn, who will turn it over to Ron, who will turn it over to Art, and back to me.
All right. Yeah, and all things being equal, well, not quite, but signals are good. Just Sean's signal is way down. Maybe that's just not Skip is not hitting it there, but certainly the Arizona guys are coming through, and Utah. So yeah, Sean, if you can copy me, hang in there, and maybe things will get a little better for all of us. And especially for John, if the guy with the lights will turn off the lights.
It's the
I think that's what you said.
75.
So onward and upward. Let's go over to K2RP. Ron, go ahead.
Okay, very good,
The only
everybody.
place I'm running a ground line, Mark, is just before it comes in the shack. I've got one of those window frames, aluminum plated, and I've got it grounded.
Everybody's got a good signal today. So,
I know there's people over here that got it.
no noise, no nothing. So, John, if you need help, relay it, give me a call. We're doing good. I think my power supply might be bad as college unit because it still doesn't work. Whoever's supposed to be next, pick it up. I didn't get
Pretty bad.
Did you say the 32S3 is not working?
Everything.
Same problem. It doesn't have any nothing will happen. I checked. There's a plate voltage there, but nothing's happening.
Oh my God. It's working perfectly here. Bring it by tomorrow. We'll put it on the bench and figure it out. But that's frustrating. Art, are you there? It's KB7LOQ, K6KY.
Yeah, K6KOI, KB7LOQ. Good evening, everybody, and thank you, John, for taking the earlies. Glad you had a great trip, and hope you guys had a great time, and I don't know if you're able to steal some radio gear back, but anyway, good to have you back. We're working on a SR400 here, rebuilding the power supply first, and then we'll attack the rig. It does work fine, but it's got all the original caps. That's what's going on here. Back to you, John. K6KOI, KB7LOQ.
That's one of my favorite rigs, Art. I've got an SR400. Ron's got one too, and they just sound good. They really, really sound good, and they just operate well, and so have fun with it. And Ron, I'm just very disappointed. I don't know. Maybe there's more than one problem. Maybe there's a problem with your power supply, but well, that thing was working perfectly here. So I think it's Gary, WA7BIP, is that correct? Go ahead.
Roger. It's Gary, WA7BIP. Thanks for picking up the earlies, John. I hope you can hear me. I'll just say hello and go back to you. K6KOI, WA7BIP.
Really good. Well, Gary, you're making it over the S9 noise level, so you're doing very well. And with that, before we turn it over to Phil, let's see if there are any more people that would like to check in. This is K6KOI.
November 4, Delta, Lima, Alpha.
There were two, and I didn't copy either one.
And on the inside, you write 20 on me.
November 4, Delta, Lima, Alpha.
Who was the other one? I got K6RCL. Is anybody else?
November 4, Delta, Lima, Alpha.
Ron, I need help. I can't copy him. He was there, but he's right at S9.
I think it's November, Lima, Alpha. Try again. November 4, Delta, Lima, Alpha.
W4DLA, gotcha.
N4DLA.
N4DLA, okay.
1.7.
Very good. Can't remember your name. What is your name?
My name is Matthew. I'm in Northern California.
Couldn't copy.
Matthew.
What is it? Matthew, very good. Okay, sorry about this noise level. I don't think I'm going to hang around after the check-in. I'm getting a headache. It's a gnawing kind of a noise. It's really grating. he's a good guy. He would normally turn it off immediately after getting my message, but I suspect he's not home, and the kids didn't get the message, so that's the way it goes. So we left it off with Phil. Phil, take her away. N6WHK, K6KOI.
K6KOI. Well, you're putting a beautiful signal down here into San Diego. Hope you enjoyed going over to Deutschland. I lived over there for quite a few years, and I miss not going over. Anyway, we're running the Swan 350 Delta. Who is that? You want me to pass it on to the next person, or back to you, sir?
Why don't you pass it back to me, and then we'll try a different technique, do one at a time. But I didn't go to Germany. We went to Barcelona, and from Barcelona we went to Mallorca, which is an island off of the coast of Spain, and from there we went to Rome, and from Rome we went to Lisbon, from Lisbon to New York, and from New York to Del Mar. It was a great trip, a long trip, a little over 3 weeks, but really enjoyed it. Chris, KI6CSA, I will try to copy you, but no guarantees. Go ahead.
The way this antenna performs for me, I'm not putting it back up.
Is he there?
He said something earlier about going to dinner.
Oh, well, I mean, you've got to look at what's important here. I mean, ham radio versus dinner, I think you made the right choice. George, W8VG, K6KOI.
Very good, John. K6KOI. Here is George, W8 Victor Golf in Oro Valley, Arizona, which is about 10 miles north of Tucson. Hearing everybody pretty good this evening. I'm running my old Drake B-line, part of the usual here, and driving my equally old Heathkit SB220. And, fine on John going to Europe. I lived there for a while in the service, and I'm married to a gal that's half German, so we go over there every year, but we strictly go to Munich to see family, and we try to time it for the Oktoberfest. Mallorca was a great one, though. I was there many, many years ago, so I hope you enjoyed that. Anyways, glad to be here in the net this evening, and I'll kick her back to you. You got a great signal here. I don't look at the meter, but it's somewhere up above 20 over here in Tucson. K6KOI, W8VG.
Very good, George. Well, you're 20 over exactly on the TS830S, which is kind of fairly accurate S-meter. So, I mean, the noise is completely buried under your signal, and it's actually a pleasure to hear a voice versus a grinding noise. And fine on your being stationed, I guess, in Europe and having spent some time there, or maybe whatever. Munich, as I remember, the signs when we were in Germany were pronounced the way I pronounced it for Munich, Munchkin. Is that right?
Oh, that's pretty close. That's about as good as I can do, John. My wife is fluent, and I just know how to order a beer. Over.
Oh, yeah. That's more than I know. I know Dunker Shane and Wiedersehen. That's about it. Anybody else like to check in? K6KOI. KK6IRZ. KK6IRZ?
That is correct.
And what is the name?
Name is Jeff. Juliet Echo Foxtrot over here in Chino, California.
Well, good strong signal. The band conditions are darn good, and I didn't look at the S-meter, but I bet you're 20 over. You're completely quieting my S9 noise level. So, welcome aboard, and anybody else? Would anybody else like to check in to the Vintage Sideband Roundtable, K6KOI?
I ain't learned nothing yet. So you got to have an antenna to compare. I don't have one of them antennas, so I'm stuck with this old squirrel.
There's somebody there, but I did not copy. Ron, I need you.
Okay, I'm here. Who's trying to get in?
I think it's Southern Moss.
Oh, Southern Moss. Okay.
A couple people, but the only one that gave a call was Spit.
Yeah. No, I guess it was Southern Moss, as somebody said. By the way, I'm running TS, as I mentioned, TS830S, but it's got a little bit of power, running about 500 watts.
57.
And I just realized I better put the tuner in line, otherwise I'm going to blow up my LDMOS amplifier. That probably didn't make any difference in my signal, but it sure made a difference in the SWR. I forgot to put the tuner in line. Okay, Y6L. Let's see, I think it goes to Sean. Sean, I hope I'll be able to copy you. I'm not sure I will, but W6VLZ, K6KOI.
Am I making it, NY6L?
You are making it.
Superb. Good evening.
Good evening, Jay. Sean, are you there?
Way to the switch box.
I don't hear him.
I hear somebody under the S9, but I think it's somebody said out of state, out of the region. Okay, I got Jay on the list, and Skip, speak to us in English.
Yeah, you should stay English also. Okay. I used to speak German fluently, but I've forgotten, you don't practice it. My dad was a linguist, he spoke about 7-8 languages, so I learned several languages.
While he's doing it.
Hi. Okay, good to hear everybody. Welcome aboard. Pretty good signal. Sorry about the noise. I get similar things when some of the people hang their Christmas lights, and they use those switching power supplies to power those LED lights, and boy, that drives you crazy. Even with a good modern SDR receiver, it's hard to get it out. Back to you there. Who's got the honors tonight, John? K6KLI in the group. And you're meeting with Jeff there and Jay. K6, what will bring Mike?
Yeah, that's going to be Bob, AK6R, and he's got a good question of the evening, and I'll let him announce it. This is not a switching power supply issue. It's a rheostat for dimming his lights, and he's got about 6 different rheostats for different, strings of lights, and all of them are quiet except one, and it's a pair. I mean, it really puts out a signal. Okay, let's before we turn it over to Matthew, are there any other people? Is there anybody else that would like to check in K6KOI? Holy cow! Now he's 15 over in noise. Okay, it's bordering on 20 over. It's unbelievable. Now it's 15 over.
Break?
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, John, this is Art TB7LOQ. Do I have it?
I didn't catch it.
Yeah, this is Art KB7LOQ. Do you copy?
Yeah, LOQ, go ahead.
Yeah, since you have all that noise, I'd like to suggest considering the Zygu digital noise reduction and filter. It's called the Golf Nancy Romeo 1, and it has both high and low cut input and output volume, and also, most importantly, a noise reduction feature, a knob. And it kind of reminds me of the noise reduction I have on my ICOM 7600. I paid $200 for it, and I use it all the time. It's hooked in line with all the vintage receivers. Over.
Yeah, I got most of that. This is truly amazing. I've never seen this happen before. He's gone from S9 to 15 over S9 in his noise. I just don't have room for more boxes here. I've got noise reduction on the modern equipment, and it works okay. I'm not real happy with it. The 7610 is probably, maybe the K3 is a little better than the 7610, but they're okay. It's just that, it adds a different tonal quality, but it does take out that grinding sound, which is awful. Okay, so Matthew, I'm not sure I'll be able to copy you with the 15 over noise level, but give it a try, K6KOI.
Okay, K6KOI in the earliest from N4 DLA. Matthew, and You know, with RFI, if it's only on at night, it must be a light. Back to you. Thanks for taking the earlies. Over.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I heard him in there, but I didn't hear what he had to say. And I skipped DJ inadvertently. And DJ, again, I was able to copy you before, but I'm not sure I'll be able to copy you now with this noise level. K6LGL, I'm sorry, K6RCL, K6KLI.
That's okay, John. Hey, buddy. I hope everything is well with everybody. We're doing fine. No rain right now. We got a little bit of a dry thing before it hits us again. So we've got over 20 inches of rain for the season so far. So we're doing very well. The Bridge San Pedro Bridge Creek is running, really fast. And lots of water going down. So as all the dams are overflowing, everything is good. So thank you, John, for taking the earlies, buddy. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well and your wife. And I'll just stand by for the start of the net.
DJ, what are you running tonight?
DJ Galetta.
Yes, I was able to copy you, DJ. What are you running tonight?
I'm running a Paragon.
Well, you know, it's really making it through. I don't know if you're, normally I don't think you run power, so you're probably at 100 watts, but the conditions are excellent. And I'm sure everybody else is really enjoying it a lot more because they don't have a 15 over noise level, but you're making it through that. Okay, so let's see if anybody else would like to check into the Vintage Sideband Roundtable, K6KY.
K6 Yankee Kilo, can you hear me, John?
Can I hear you, John, is all I heard. I didn't catch your call sign.
Oh, it's K6YK, K6 Yankee Kilo, John, up here in Stockton.
I'm sorry, I can't catch your call sign with this noise.
Yankee Kilo.
Yankee Kilo, what's the prefix?
That's K6YK.
K6YK, gotcha that time. Yeah, this is really getting stale, but let's see. Let's see if Jeff is going to make it through the terrible noise curtain. KK6IRZ, K6KY.
Oh, wow. All right, very good. Well, hopefully I'm getting through some of it here. I'm only running the Barefoot Icom 735, which I guess doesn't technically fall into the category of vintage because it's somewhere around 83-ish, I think. But it certainly was an early model of the more modern rice box, if you will. And hopefully I'm coming up over the top. But like I say, just running barefoot, hanging out here in Chino. It's been raining all day long, and my new shed is dry as a bone. So I definitely love that aspect of it so far. So back over to you. This is KK6IRZ.
KK6IRZ. Jeff, you made it over the noise in great style. You're 20 over 9, so the conditions are really excellent tonight. Are you running power, Jeff?
No, I'm just running the Barefoot Icom 735, 100 watts PEP, well, a little bit more than 100 watts PEP because I've modified it, but, you know, not anything worth talking about. You know, maybe 110 watts instead of 100, but that's it.
What type of antenna are you using?
I have a homebrew open wire line fed dipole of 128 feet, a link coupled balanced antenna tuner, very similar to what the Johnson Matchbox, well actually I am using a Johnson Matchbox right now. My homebrew antenna is in repair, so I'm using a Johnson Matchbox right now, and that's it.
Well, it's really working for you. 100 watts and 20 over 9, so excellent. I'll turn it over to Jay, and then we'll ask for more check-ins. What time is it? Turn around to my chair. It's 6:52, so we got a few minutes. Jay, did you ever get that Atlas 210X working? NY6L, K6KY.
I was in the other room, John. Well, got it going. Just got to do some a little more work on the receive and transmit, and I think be done with it. But boy, I tell you, you talk about adding more gray hairs. It's a learning experience expose.
Yep, that's what it's all about. You know, it's all kind of part of the game, isn't it? I mean, we like to repair these things, get our hands dirty, hopefully not get too many gray hairs, hopefully have hairs to get gray. But congratulations on it. That's great. What are you using tonight?
Right now I'm using a Kenwood TS830S barefoot.
You know, that's what I'm using, but it's not barefoot. It's got an LD MOS amplifier on it, and running 500 watts, maybe a hair over 500 watts. So, John, are you there? K6YK, K6KY.
Go ahead, John. I'm sorry, I was distracted there. I didn't hear you.
That's okay. I just thought you might want to say a few words.
Oh, okay, a few words here. I've been hanging on for a long time. I finally fixed my antenna, and I haven't been on 80 meters, and God, I don't know, must have been a year over.
I missed that. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, too. I'm sorry about your noise. That's awful, man. I don't know what to say. It's pitiful when you got that noise. I don't know what to say about that. I'm sorry.
NU66, John.
Mark, take it away.
I was just going to bed and I forgot about the roundtable. Good thing that we're an hour later than you are. So anyway, I'm just saying hello to everybody and then saying goodnight to everybody. I'm in a little discomfort at the moment, so 73s.
Yep, I did not mention the reason why, but I know why, and go to bed, get your energy back. I will not put you on the list unless you want me to.
No, I'm not going to stick around, and I don't have any problems with people knowing I came back from Europe and with COVID. Thanks very much to the lack of masks on airplanes. Anyway, good night, 73s.
Good night, sleep well. Real quickly, how's Maki doing?
She's doing better. You know, I'm a day or two ahead of her, so I'm doing a little bit better than she is, but she's hanging in there.
Wow. Well, I wish her my best, and get a good night's sleep, and we'll probably talk during the week.
Yep, I sure will. I'm sorry I'm so far off frequency. Anyway, 73s, everybody. This is NU66 in beautiful Sedona, Arizona.
Yeah, real quick, N6WHK.
Yeah. There's that disease is still out there, and it's I guess a new variant, and I know Mark has had all the vaccinations, and when you're going to get it, you're going to get it. It's just all there is to it, but he's taking Paxlovid, and the day after he started Paxlovid, he sounded like a different person. He sounded really much improved, so that's the story. Anybody else like to check in? K6KY.
KW1NG, Ken, Alpine.
KW1NG. I do not recognize that caller. What is your name, and are you new to this, or did I just forget?
I've been on the Vintage Net a bit. Ken, Kilo Echo November in Alpine down near San Diego.
Very nice, Ken. You got a good signal. I'm just a hop, skip, and a jump. Maybe these days for this rain, a swim away in Del Mar. Good strong signal, and there was somebody else in there.
Yeah, I probably too late now, but I had a question. He mentioned got the COVID because of no mask on the airplane. My question would be no mask on other people or no mask on him?
I can answer that question. Both Maki and I wore masks, good quality, high quality masks the whole time. What they do, especially in Portugal, is they load you on a shuttle bus that has no ventilation at all, and they cram all the people in, and then they sit and wait 10 or 15 minutes before they drive it across the tarmac to the plane, and so that's likely where we caught it. But we wore high quality masks the whole time that we were on that shuttle bus on planes, anytime we were on any kind of public transportation. And I've had the most current booster a month and a half ago. And so it is what it is. But at least now I won't be getting it for another year, I believe.
Okay, dokie. Yeah, that answers my question, because the curiosity is, of course, is that if wearing masks protected you from COVID, then you wouldn't have caught it. The issue really is that masks protect people from spreading it. That's the point that people don't seem to understand. It prevents somebody that is actively from spreading it. It doesn't protect you from not getting it, which is the example that you just showed right there. You were wearing high quality mask and everything, but yet you were still able to catch it.
I have one thought about that. It's called viral load, and if you can reduce the viral load, you're probably going to be much better off. And the science has changed their opinion on the uses of masks in both directions a little bit over the last couple of years. So yeah, does it help me? Who knows? But I would rather see a plane full of people with masks on as opposed to a plane full of people coughing up their lungs, and that was the case on the Portugal flight from Portugal to JFK. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. But I will survive. My lady friend will survive, and life goes on. Anyway, 73s, everybody. I don't want to create a big debate on this. So 73s, all this is NU66.
Good night.
God bless, Mark. Get better soon, Mark. KB7LOQ.
Check-ins, then I'm going to turn it over to Bob and see if he is around. So, any more check-ins? K6KY.
John?
Yep.
Yeah, who's running it?
Bob is, AK6R.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yeah, he usually has a very, very strong signal. So, Bob, are you around? AK6R, K6KY.
Yeah, AK6R here. How you doing, John?
I'm doing fine. Are you ready for the list?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and shoot. I can take it probably four or five at a time.
Okay, sounds good. And I'm not going to stick around. I've got a horrible noise, and it happens on, seems like on just this band, but anyway, so let me give you the list. Number one on the list is K6ZTA, Vaughn. After that is K2RP, you know Ron, of course. And after Ron is Art, KD7LOQ. I think I got the prefix right. Close to it anyway. And I'm about to sneeze. I sneezed. I sneezed right at 3 instead of 4. Anyway, the next one is WA7BLP, Gary. You got those?
Yeah, it's BLP, by the way.
Okay, and so after Gary is N6WHK, Phil. And then we have KI6CSA, Chris. After Chris is W8VG, George. Got him?
So is that Victor Golf?
Victor Golf. And got it?
No, I missed it. Was that Victor Golf over?
Yes, it's W8 Victor Golf.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, and then we've got, I hear a little distortion on your signal. I don't know if everybody else hears it. It could be my noise blanker, though. Does anybody else hear that?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, there's something going on there. Made a little bit of RF or something. Not bad, though. We can copy it. Next one is W6VLZ, Sean. After Sean is K6 Little Green Light, Skip. And then we've got K6RCL DJ. Got him?
Yeah, I got it. Go ahead.
Okay. Then we got N4DLA, Matthew. KK6IRZ, Jeff. Let's slow down a little bit. NY6LJ. I'm going to finish with the last two that I picked up, which is K6YK, John. And I sneezed on Ken's call sign. They decipher it. I think it's KK1NG, but Ken, I did sneeze on your call sign.
That's okay. I got a story about that. KW1NG.
Okay, KW1. It turned into a KK from the sneeze. Anyway, that's what I got, Bob.
Yeah, John, who was after K7RCL?
That was N for DLA Matthew. Got it all there, Bob?
Yeah, you said N4GLA, is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, anybody else want to check into the net? Thank you, John, for taking the earlies, and give me a call now.
W6YEC? KK6IRZ. You can take me off the list. I just got the call from the wife. I'll try to be back by the end, but not likely.
Who was that again?
KK6IRZ. W6YEC checking in.
Okay, George, W6YEC. Okay, anybody else want to check in? Come now, please. Okay, well, welcome everybody to the Vintage Single Sideband Net. This is Bob, AK6R. Let me read the prefix for tonight. Welcome everybody to the Vintage Single Sideband Roundtable. This is Bob, AK6R, and I'm in Fallbrook, California, about 15 miles inland from the Oceanside Harbor. I'm the host for this evening's roundtable, and tonight the station I am using is Cubic Astro 103, and that's driven to a ACOM 1000 linear amplifier going into a Drake tuner. And then that's going to about 300 feet of coax into a Palomar Engineers end-fed, off-center fed antenna. Basically 95 feet of wire with a choke at the 40-foot mark on the coax. Acts just like an off-center fed antenna, but it's end-fed, so pretty unique, and it's a good one for us. Anyway, we meet each Tuesday evening at or around 3895. You can zero beat me now because I think I'm pretty close to that. All this should be using equipment that was manufactured on or before 1981 or home-built equipment with equivalent technology. First-timers, however, can use modern equipment, and I welcome all attendees, and if you want to check in late, you can do that too. Each night we have a question of the evening, and I'll announce that in just a second. Is there any announcements at this time? Please come now.
Because there's one lap to go, and when you get to cross the flag, the checkered flag waves with the crossing flag.
Okay, I did not hear any announcements, so let's go ahead and announce the question of the evening. And this is a question I have not heard before, so maybe we'll get some interesting answers. And it has to do with QSL cards. So the question is do you still send and receive QSL cards? And if so, tell us about your QSL collection. How do you display the cards if you do? Are they on your wall or wherever? And which ones are you the most proud of? And do you still have your first QSL card? There's the questions of the evening about your QSL card collection if you do have one. So I'm going to toss it over to the first four folks, but let me ask one thing. John, did you still want to be on the list? Go ahead.
Last, what is 18 cards, Mr. Crane?
He said he was going to bow out because of his noise level.
Go ahead. I got some kind of delay after I talk, so I'm not sure what that is with this radio, but I didn't hear you, John. Go ahead.
John said he was going to bow out after he took the net.
It is out.
We got two.
Okay, John said he's going to bow. I just wanted to give him one more chance, but thanks for taking the earlies, John. Okay, we're going to toss it over to Mr. Vaughn at K6ZTA is number 1, and then turn it over to Ron, K2RP, and then over to Art, KD7LOQ, and then Art turn it over to Gary, WA7BIP, and then Gary back to me. K6ZTA to take it from AK6R.
Okay, Bob, thank you. Yeah, AK6R from K6ZTA. All right, we're here in Woodland Hills, and it's been raining most of the day. Some cloudbursts, pretty heavy, but kind of drizzly in between. So it's been very tolerable here. Nothing. The streets are not flooded, so we're kind of hanging here. All right. The rig here tonight is an 100V, and we're driving the SB220, and the antenna is an inverted V, hanging off my 55-foot tower. And the microphone is at 10G. So with that, I think I'll just pass it on to Ron and listen through on the rest of it here. K2RP from K6ZTA. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ron. It's Ron in the San Diego area. Good signals tonight. We're on the Drake TR4, feeding a G5RV.
Or did you try it on other things?
Let's see. QSL cards. Yeah, pretty rare now. I don't get too many. The QSL Bureau sends me a pack of Japanese cards about 2-3 times a year. But with the logbook of the world, which I don't even participate in that much. I don't chase countries or anything anymore, so I'm pretty much out of it. But I do have quite a collection which covers coming up on 65 years. And I don't know, I just can't throw them out. Do I have my original card? Probably someplace. I have one, my original novice call in 1959 was WV2GLP. For a while they used a V instead of an N, and then you became a WA2 or WA6. But Bob, thanks for that question. It was a refreshing change from the usual ones. Over to Art, KD6 LOQ, K2RP.
Putting out any power on 75?
Yeah, thank you, Ron. Excuse me. This is Kilo Bravo 7, Lima Oscar, Quebec. Art in rainy St. George. Thank you, California, for sending the rain, and we're going to have big rain tomorrow also. So it's a good thing we trimmed our 21 rose bushes yesterday. Now they can get some moisture. Running the Halicrafter's HT37 tonight into a Heathkit SB220, listening on a SX115, and using a D104 mic and a inverted V at about 40 feet. I had QSL cards when I was a novice, and sent them and received them, and they're someplace in a box, but after that I never really followed up on that. I always thought I'd get a colored picture one with some vintage, my favorite vintage rigs on there, but never got around to it. And I don't even use the computer to make my logs. I need to get into the 21st century. But anyway, very good question, Bob, and you're pounding in here tonight. Great signal. And let's see, I sent it over to WA7BIP. Gary, this is KB7LOQ.
Okay, Art. Thank you. You got a beautiful signal here into Southern California, Duarte, California. This is Gary, WA7BIP, where it's been raining like crazy. And through the last two storms, because we live up here in the foothills, we got about 20 inches of rain. So we've got saturated ground. So far, everything's holding. We're happy about that. And we decided to get on the radio tonight, and we're running. Radios are breaking down. The TS-830S, which had garbled transmit audio, has now proceeded to having problems with the receiver. So I think I got a low voltage power supply problem in there, and I'll get that on the bench. But instead, we're running the Kenwood TS-130S, the little brother to that 830S, and it's a 1980 radio. No tubes in it, unfortunately. Put to vertical. And that's about it for the station. I won't keep it long because the noise level. QSL cards, I do have QSL cards, but they're my old address in Portland. They're the best QSL cards I have are ones that are, when I was working at Tektronix, they actually printed out QSL cards for us, for the ham group, the TERAC, it's called Tektronix Employees Radio Amateur Club. Yeah, beautiful card, I love that thing. The Tech logo on it and everything. And I do still have a few of those, but I'm not active in sending them out or not. As far as my first QSL card, I probably could dig one up, but it would be buried somewhere. So that's it. And as far as the noise go, I know John is gone, K6KOI with this noise problem. But, Bob, that's exactly what I'm fighting here with my own house. So I know exactly how it feels. And fortunately, my dimmers are not bothering the 80-meter band. It's only lower. So I'm luckier, but I know exactly what he's got for noise and what it sounds like, and it's awful. So I hope he gets that fixed. And if I get mine fixed, I'll let you know what I did there, Bob. So back to you, AK6R, WA7BIP.
Yeah, WA7BIP in the group, AK6R. Very good, Gary. And keep your raincoat ready, I guess. But we've had light rain here, not too much at all, but expect more tonight. And very good on all the answers. And looks like we're not a big QSL group, but I've got probably roughly 30 or 40,000 cards here, and they're in various places and storage areas. But tonight I did find my first QSL card, and after the next group or so, I'm going to read that one to you and kind of give you some history and background on it. It's real interesting and a very unique card. So anyway, the next four is Phil, N6WHK, and then turn it over to your neighbor there, KI6CSA, Chris. And then Chris, turn it over to George, W8 Victor Golf, W8 Victor Golf. And then George, turn it over to Sean, W6 Victor Lima Zulu, I believe it is. And then Sean, back to me. So go ahead and take it, Phil. N6WHK from AK6R.
AK6R, thank you very much. November 6th, Whiskey Hotel Kilo. I'm running the Swan 350 Delta to the coaxial antenna design I got from George, and he helped me build it, and it's been working beautiful ever since. My first QSL card was the first time I was on HF back in 88, and it was from Japan. I still have the card. It's in my folder here. I have a folder with I don't know how many cards, lots of them, but I do have it. Matter of fact, when you mentioned what the question would be, I went over and grabbed the folder just to check, and I still have it, so I'm happy about that. I do QSL, not so much like I used to. I used to do a lot,
But lately, it's mostly at the special events, or DX expeditions, or something of this order. And it's mostly for fun. And I don't mind sending a green stamp and an envelope and a return address. It's all part of the game, and I enjoy it. I do the computer too, but mostly that's just people I talk to during the day, like on 60 meters or wherever. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris. KI6CSA, are you back from dinner? N6WHK.
All right, N6WHK. Very good, Phil. Sound loud over here in Bay Park, and this is KI6CSA. And we're running the SWAN 500 Charlie X-ray. So we thought we'd fire her up and blow out the cobwebs and see how she's doing. And we're talking on a Frankenstein antenna that has just been recently, one of the legs of the antenna has been moved over to a proper place, and it seems to be doing a lot better than it was before with the inverted V configuration. So, and of course we're running a Palomar engineer balun, a giant monster of a balun up there, probably way more than I need. And so that's the heart and soul of this Frankenstein antenna. So I'm pretty happy about it. QSL card. Bob, what is a QSL card? Too young. Oh, man. I'm kidding. I think I have my first one, and I've only got 3 probably. So by the time I got into ham radio, which is 2006, I don't think a lot of guys, or at least none of the guys I was talking to, was doing QSL. Some guys would send me some stuff, but I never had a QSL card to send. But, and I guess Log of the World, I got that somewhere, I think. But I found my old logs. I used to handwrite all my information down before I would put it in, I think it was QRZ. I think QRZ, so. Anyways, I can't really make a whole lot of comments on the QSL cards, but I've seen some pretty cool ones. In fact, Bob, I think you gave me a stack full of QS cards from an old ham way back when, and I like to go through them and look at all the places that he talked to and what frequency and radio he was using or whatever. I can't remember his call. I got him somewhere around here, Bob. But I do. Okay, so I do have QSL cards, but they're not mine. I just like it. I enjoy looking at them. So let's see. I'm going to hand it to George. Good old George in Oro Valley, Arizona, and I hope you can hear me now that I got my antenna in the right spot. Because he's always loud over here, and he has a hard time hearing me. So take it away, George. W8 Victor Golf in Oro Valley, KI6CSA. Yeah, okay, Chris. KI6CSA, W8 Victor Golf. Well, I'm going to make your evening tonight. You're a good 20-25 over here in Oro Valley. Nice armchair copy, Chris. No strain, no pain. And I'm running my old Drake Beeline here. It's not an original. I picked it up about 6 years ago and went all through it about 5 years ago. And driving a Heathkit SB 220 that I built between my junior and senior year in high school in summer of 1973, the summer the Watergate hearings were on, if you guys remember that. That's been a while ago. Anyways, the antenna's an inverted B-ped with open wire. It's 160 meters, not up very high though, about 45 feet maybe, down here to a homebrew link tuner. And that's what we're running here with my old Shure 444 that I've had all these years. Let's see, what else? Weather here is nice. The bad weather I think is going to go to the north of us, but I'm leaving Thursday to go up to La Cañada. A friend of ours is having a birthday up there, so we're going to drive up there with a puppy dog. Hopefully we don't drive into anything, or not too much. QSLs, let's see. Oh gosh, I have a nice collection here. There were 2 periods of my life where I was collecting them religiously. I think when I was a novice back in 70, 71, that kind of thing. I've got a whole big pile. Well, not a pile. I've actually got them in a little filing cabinet, but I got some from that period. And then I started chasing DX, of all things, in 1993 when I was living in Virginia. I was just running an antenna about like this, only shorter, and this old 751 I still have here with the linear. And finally got my DXCC on the phone and mixed, but I was, you know the drill, sending out envelopes with green stamps in them and all that kind of thing. I've got a couple QSLs I'm proud of here. I got one from Mongolia. Not that rare, but it was hard to get. I kept sending envelopes to this guy's address in Ulaanbaatar, and they kept coming back with stamps in Russian and English on them saying pilfered, and they would steal the green stamps out of the envelope, and it was going via Russia or the Soviet Union, whatever that was. I guess it was still the Soviet Union then, and being pilfered. And finally somebody said, write the address, and at the bottom put via Japan. So I did that and never got anything back. But lo and behold, I got an envelope from the 8-Land Bureau, and there was the card. After all that trouble, I got it from the Bureau. I've got a couple of cards here I like. I found on eBay one of my aunt's QSL cards when she was a novice in 1953, and I bought that and got it framed here. And I've got, somebody sent me a 1940 QSL card from the original W8 Victor Golf. He was licensed in 1940, and he was talking to he was up in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, talking to another W8 in upstate New York, because before the war that was 8-Land up there. And I've got that framed and over here on my 1930 station on top of an old Utah transmitter that I run occasionally. And then the best one, though, is I've got one here that I thought belonged to Jim Croce, the rocker. I was looking at a page here on Celebrity Hams, and there was Jim Croce there and a QSL card, and I looked at it and thought, I've got that card, so I dug through the old novice collection. Sure enough, I had it. It was from 1971. Well, long story short, a friend of mine up on the East Coast did some research, and it wasn't Jim Croce, it was his father in Drexel, Pennsylvania. I worked him as a novice. So yeah, those are the cards I'm proudest of in my collection. And let's see, my first QSL card, you guys probably remember the outfit down in Texas called the Little Print Shop. And I think I actually found out I had a license before the actual license arrived, because I got an envelope with some sample QSLs, and it said to WN8 Hotel Victor Golf, and it had my address there. So I think that's how I found out I had a license, is I got the envelope from Little Print Shop. And I've still got some of those laying around here somewhere, probably in the file folder. Anyways, that's my QSL story. I still send them out if someone sends one to me, but I quit chasing DX. I'm strictly a rag chewer now. Anyways, over to Sean. And I hope Sean's hearing me up there. You may have to help there, Bob, but let's give it a try. W6VLZ, W8 Victor Golf. Over to you, Sean.
Yeah, W6VLC, this is AK6R. It's your turn, Sean. Go ahead and take it. Anybody here, Sean?
Negative. Negative, Santa Monica.
Okay, we're going to put him on the side list for right now. And great signals from everybody. Boy, George, you were 20 over here. Just a gorgeous signal from that Drake system you got. And fantastic stories. You're the champ so far, because some of the things that you had, and you still have your QSL cards. And I remember the Little Print Shop too. And They were real big, and I think they did mine too, as a matter of fact. But that sounds really cool. And Chris, no cards, boy. We got to get you going, my boy, and get you on the air with some cards. And the Bureau will send you cards through the DX Bureau, and I get about 50 to 100 every month. I just send them a whole bunch of pre-stamped envelopes, and they'll send them back to you. And I think I send them about a year or 2 years worth. And everything that comes in via the Bureau then gets shipped to me once a month. So that's the way to do it if you're still doing cards. And if I'm not doing cards, I still get about 50 a month just from all over the world, because I do a lot of FT8 and for checking antenna strengths and patterns and stuff, and I'm quite active on that. And let's see, Phil, you had your first JA cards, very good. Let me make a quick check here and see if anybody else wants to come on the list. Come on now, please, is AK6R.
Mike.
Okay, I'm not hearing anybody, and if somebody else did, chime in when it's your turn. But very good. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my QSL cards. I've had 4 call signs in my life. And my first one was Whiskey N6, WN6 QFA, Clear Fuzzy Animal. And simultaneously with that, I had WB6 QFA. Yeah, I was a technician and a novice at the same time, and that was in 1965. And then I became KB6 QC. I couldn't get rid of the Q even though I requested it. And then finally I got a vanity call, AK6R, and that's the call I still have and will probably have for the rest of my life. So I like that card. Very good contesting card because of the unique prefix on it. But my first QSL card was dated 8/27/1965. And it was actually my second contact. My first contact, I never got a QSL card, but it's a real interesting card because it's all done in pen and ink. The lady that did this, and she was about as old as I was at that time, probably as a teenager. No, it couldn't have been because she was married, because they have a his and hers card. And she actually took a blank postcard and colored it in black and white, and with her call on it, and a picture of her shack, and a funny-looking antenna on a tree outside. And her name was Mela, M-E-L-A. And she was in Denver, Colorado, and I was in Fresno, California at the time. And it was dated, like I say, in 1965. And I'll just read you real quick. And of course, we were on CW. That's all we could use as novices at the time. And she was running a Helicrafters HT40 and a Drake 2A receiver at the time. With a vertical antenna. And here's the quick message. It was, "Thanks, Bob. You were very kind. I was alone and shaking in my boots because you were only your second contact. But you made it easier. Thanks again. Lots of luck to you. Please, QSL 73s." And then right after that, about next day, I got a second QSL card from her. Again, hand ink on the front of it, and it's still real ink. It wasn't a copy. She actually did it by hand. It says, "Thanks for your nice QSL, Bob. You were very kind, and I had a time of it. Since you were hurried under a lot of QRM, thanks for staying in there with me." As you can see by the front of my card, my name is Mela, and it's pronounced me as in me, and then la as in la. Mela. Hope to see you again, Bob. Thanks for my third contact. I guess it was her third contact. And out of 10 QSOs, she said, "I have had 3 Bobs as my first 10 contacts." So it was kind of a cute little story, and dated back to 1965 when I first got licensed there. Anyway, that's my story right now, and we'll have some more, I'm sure. So let's turn it over to Skip, K6LGL. You've been a ham for a long time, Skip, so you probably got a few experiences with QSL cards. And then turn it over to DJ, K7RCL. And then the DJ, turn it over to Matt, Nancy for GLA, N4GLA, and then Matt, turn it over to Jeff, KK6IRZ, and then Jeff back to me. K6LGL to take it from AK6R. Go ahead, Skip.
Okay, thank you, Bob. KK6R on the Vintage Sideband Roundtable. Good evening to all from Skip and Santa Monica, K6LGL.
Shut down.
Classic 902DM and 572B in the amplifier.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of.
In 1955, I got on CW running, I think it was a T19X5. There's 1625s there. And, you know, the legal input was 75 watts. Well, now I think I can admit it that that was probably my output plus maybe additional 50 or 60 watts. But at that time I was running this, legal input 75 watts. Everybody was struggling to work out of the state. All my local friends around here, the south side of Los Angeles, West LA. And my first contact was WN9OLJ. And I believe in Wisconsin. My first contact on 80-meter CW. Everybody was struggling, trying to work out of the state. I don't know why. So I got a card, so that's one of my favorite cards. I printed my own. I took a viewpoint, a coastal view of Santa Monica with the access to California on-ramp there from Highway 1. And I printed my own call, KM6LGL. That was in 1955, somewhere. June, July, August, I don't remember. And so I used to send those out. But after I upgraded my license, I decided that I'm going to work 6 meters seriously and pursue that. And homebrew converter into MC173, and then I built a kilowatt and 58 and so on. But my car that I have is King's X5NW in Panama, when we were still an American outpost there and considered American territory before it was turned over, to the Panamanians. So I have a card from them, kind of proud of that. And several other cars I worked on 6 meters from DK Land, ZL, and South America, and I don't remember if I ever got a card. Yeah, I guess I got a card from Europe. It was hard to work, So the 6-meter QSL cars was the most valuable one. And another was Cycle 19. Everybody was on 10 working anything that they could do, with a 19-inch whip. I mean, 96-inch whip quarter wave. On 20, on 10, 45, watts, I could do one of those things. Well, I chose, I'm going to work the worldwide DX on 6, and I did. And that was a challenge. So I have some cards from that period. And then after that, even when I got into the satellite business, and, I worked the multi-orbit satellites, Oscar 10 and Oscar 13 and so on. We didn't bother the QSL, although sometimes we acknowledge, I have some acknowledgments later. And one was the other continent QSO, that probably would be something connected, North, South America, Europe, Asia, and Pacific there, and so it connected all in one QSO. Okay, enough of that. Over to you, DJ. You had some fun when you were in the DW line there up in Alaska, so I bet you got some interesting stories to tell. K6RCL there in Goleta. K6, very nice.
Okay, real good, Skip. K6LGL, Goleta. Well, the interesting thing is QSL cards, I hardly even use them anymore, but I have a big stack of them, and I have special ones, worked all the UA stations, the 20 CW, up on the new line, of course, worked one of them there too. Typically CW, some side bin, but mostly CW, and I got some from Turkey. I probably got about 150 QSL cards. I don't have 40,000 of them. I got enough stuff I got to get rid of as it is. But there's one guy, he came to George's one day, and he showed me his original QSL card he got from me. He's like number 1 or number 2 or number 3. I don't have my logs. They're somewhere around. It was a novice back in 55, 56 area. And I can't think of his name. His name's John, but I can't think of his call. And he since changed his call to a 1x2. But mine's original as given to me. So that's about it on the QSL cards. Running about 100 watts here. What's really interesting is, the cost of postage nowadays and everything. Most of the guys probably log it in on a computer. I don't use that. I'm from the old school.
2 meters during the daytime. Talk 75 at night.
A lot of DX, especially on some of these digital modes. Amazing. I'm gonna try and get on MTA or something. I'd like to try that. But anyway, thank you for taking the net tonight, Bob. And also, I want to say to everybody, have a great evening and a wonderful tomorrow. And we're going to turn it over to N4DLA. This is K6RGL, DJ in Goleta.
Okay, thank you, DJ. K6RGL and Division Sideband Roundtable. This is Matthew, N4DLA, in Orinda, California, about 15 miles east of San Francisco. Running an Atlas 210X, Shure 444 microphone, straight feeding a 75-meter coaxial dipole sloping down from about 60 feet. And newsflash, it's raining again. So people don't want to hear that 4-letter word. Reference QSL cards, I keep them in archival photographic print holders, and they go in a 3-ring binder. So I have 2 3-ring binders for domestic United States cards, and then 1 3-ring binder for DX cards. And a lot of them are JA cards because they like to send QSL cards to the Bureau. So I'm more than happy to send them cards back. My first QSL cards were printed in 1977 by Rusprint, R-U-S-P-R-I-N-T. Although I did get the same Little Print Shop samples, and a lot of stations I worked, I would get QSL cards that were produced by Little Print Shop. Seems like everybody's favorite one was the silver letters on a black background. That was popular. My first QSL card was from W0EDS in Iowa. Worked him on 15-meter CW. I was in Maryland at the time. My call sign was WB3GYL, and it was very easy to get QSL cards. Everybody wanted a QSL card from Maryland, at least on 15-meter CW. And regarding novice operations, if you have a vintage CW rig, try out the Novice Rig Roundup that's starting on March 4th. Runs for about a week, I think. And they're interested in stations using old equipment in the old novice frequencies, and break out those crystals if you can, even though you haven't needed them since 1972. and even 2-meter AM's game. Novices had that until around 1967, I think. And as far as the most famous or cherished QSL card is from Kilo Bravo 3 Delta Echo, and that's red. He was also in the same city in Maryland where I lived. He lived a few miles away, and we would work the same 75-meter traffic net. So I got a QSL card back from him, and he wrote how he'd been in the submarine service in World War II. And I found out later he was a retired vice admiral who had won the Medal of Honor in World War II. So, and there's a destroyer named after him. He passed away about 30 years ago at the USS Ramage. So that's a very well-cherished QSL card. Okay, over to Jeff, KK6IRZ, and a Vintage Sideband Roundtable from N4DLA.
He may not be back yet. I think he's picking up his wife. K6L,
Yeah, thanks, Skip, for the message. I wasn't sure who that was, but we'll call him at the end again. He's out. Okay. Well, very interesting stories, and I think it's enlightening to see what we used to do and what we still can do. You know, you can still upload to the ARRL for scorekeeping purposes and award purposes for the ARRL, but you can also upload to some other places too, and they'll automatically give you digital rewards for all different types of things. I think there's probably 500 or 600 digital awards now you can get for working all states or working all countries or working at the first 100 and by band and by mode and those types of things. So, and they're all delivered virtually. In fact, if you upload to QRZ.com, they'll give you the Worked All Countries Award and everything else, and you can have those virtually, and then you can display them on your site. That is to say, underneath your call sign. And if you look on mine, I think there's 10 or 12 of them on there. It's because I upload to QRZ and I upload to the ARRL at the same time. And after a while, you work so many countries or so many whatever it is, worked all South America, those types of things. And they'll give you endorsements for multiple countries, multiple bands, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of bragging rights on a digital basis. You don't actually have to send a card. You just have to have the other guy verify it through the same bureau or through QRZ also. And it sometimes verification comes within the hour because they're uploading just like you're uploading. So anyway, that's a way to check it out and still get virtual awards, and if you want a printed one, you can also get that too. I have awards all over my shack here in the garage, and I've won quite a few contests back in the early 2000s. I was a big RTTY operator. I won the ARRL contest for our section, San Diego, a couple times, and a lot of other ones. So I kind of put those up there, and they're next to some of the cards I have too. So you might as well have bragging rights, at least in your own shack. So there you go. All right, we got 4 more to go, and let's see if there's anybody else that wants to get on the list. Please call me now. Okay, I'm not hearing anybody, so Jay, NY6L, go ahead and take the first one, and then turn it over to John, K6YK, and then John, turn it over to Ken, KK1 Nancy George, KK1NG, who I've not met, but he had a nice signal in here. And then Ken, turn it over to George, W6YEC, and then back to me, and then we'll conclude the night. But hope you got nice dry weather where you are. It's sure dry right here now, but I understand it's raining all over the place. Over to you, Jay, NY6L, and you had a good signal tonight. Let's see how you're still doing from AK6R.
Okay, very good, Bob. AK6R, NY6L. Here in Hesperia here, we're running the Barefoot Kenwood TS830S, Intro Palomar Engineers off-center fed dipole, 80 through 6 meters that got rehung back up onto my mast after it was kind of tweaked to a 45-degree angle at the very top. and had Juan KB6KMU graciously helped me out, and we got that all squared away. Okay, QSL cards. Well, a couple of things. My first contact and my first QSL card was not on HF. Actually, I was just a technician class licensee holder back in 1983. I was, my old call sign was KA6YIT, and I lived in the West Los Angeles area. And, my first contact, and I'm looking at my logbook here, is Alpha Delta 4 Foxtrot at Chattanooga, Tennessee, Charlie. And I was worked that station at 9:18 p.m. on 6 meters with 3 watts with a quarter-wave pull-up antenna. And I have that QSL card today. It's kind of faded because it was like one of those stamped, right on a white card. But and kind of another little twist here. I talked to Skip for the very first time on 6 meters, K6LGL at 9 p.m. with 3 watts, 50.11 megahertz on June 27th of 1983. Skip was my very, very first local contact, and I tell you, it's looking at my logbook here, it's just a lot of nostalgia here. And the rig I was running was an ICOM 502, and I'm looking at it on my shelf right now, and that's quite a unique bookshelf type of rig, and it was a lot of fun running 6 meters before I went to HF. And QSL cards, I did a moderate amount, not too many, throughout the years. I have about a couple of, several dozen, and I did display them on a plastic card holder back at the old house in the bedroom. And what I need to do now is I need to get all my QSL cards and put them in binders. Not a whole lot of them, but I have everything from 6 meters all the way down to 80 meters. And that was a lot of fun back in the 80s. So there you go. A little bit of a twist there that I looked at my logbook that Skip, before I got on AM, I talked to you on 6 meters with 3 watts from West LA. All right. With that said, by the way, Bob, you're 20 over F9 up here in the high desert. Okay, so over to K6YK John to pick it up. NY6LJ here in Hesperia.
Okay, Jay, NY6L in the group here, K6YK. Very good. Boy, you had a great signal up here this evening. It's John here in Stockton. I hope everybody can hear me. I'm running the KWM2 tonight, barefoot. I didn't turn the amp on. And I've been AWOL here for a long time. My antenna was broken. I finally got out there and fixed it. Took me a long time to get around to it, but I did. It seems like it's working okay. I worked a few Europeans on 80 over the weekend, so I guess it's working all right. Anyway, good to hear everybody. I'm running the KWM2 tonight, and my inverted V here, it's about 45 feet high in the middle and 20 feet high on one end, about 10 feet high on the other end. So, there you are, QSLs. I remember my first one. I still have it. I have all of them. I have thousands and thousands of QSLs. And the first one was KN6VPN, a fellow in Concord who is the silent key now. We were both novices at the same time. And my original call was WN6YKS. WN6YKS in 1957. All of my friends in high school got KN6 calls, and I got a WN6. I was very disappointed. But as it turned out, when I got my technician license, I got a W6 call instead of a K6 call. And that turned out to be okay. So I was a WN6 and a W6 at the same time until I got my general. And then, of course, I kept that W6 call for a long time until I got my extra class in 1965. And then I still had to wait a while. You had to have 20 years before you could get an extra class back in those days. So when I got my 20 years in, I got this K6YK call. Anyway, and that's been 40 years ago. That's been more than 40 years ago now. Or right about 40 years ago. So anyway, there you are. QSL cards. I still have some of my originals. I think I have maybe one of just about every one I've ever had, I suppose. And I have thousands of cards filed away. None of them are displayed on the walls. They're all filed away in boxes in alphabetical order. And what else? Oh, gosh, I don't know what would be my favorite one. One interesting one was the first Afghanistan card I received. I sent off my IRCs and my self-addressed envelope and all of that, and of course nothing ever came back forever. And finally, sometime way in the future, maybe a year or two later, I received this envelope in the mail, my envelope that I filled out. It had no postage on it. It wasn't even sealed. And it was in the mailbox, and I looked at it, and I said, what the heck is this? And I opened it up and looked, and here was my Afghanistan card. Came all the way from Afghanistan with no postage on it, and no return address or anything, and there it was. It came in the mail direct. Very strange. Very, very strange. What else? I don't know. And as I said, it doesn't take too long to get thousands of QSL cards if you try for some of the awards and stuff. The USACA award for working all the USA counties, it takes 3,000 QSL cards, over 3,000 QSL cards just to get that one award. So it doesn't take too long to start racking up a lot of cards. And by the way, the QSL Bureau, the W6 QSL Bureau is in Stockton, where I live here, and I know the QSL Bureau manager and a whole bunch of them there. I see them about once a week. And so all the cards are coming to town here, and they get sorted out. They got a few people around town here that are sorting those cards out. So there you are. What else? I don't know what else. I was going to say something else now, but I forgot what it was. I'm getting too old. I got about 10 pounds of cards here in a box that are for outgoing cards to the outgoing bureau that I haven't shipped yet, and I'm dreading having to do that. And I got about a pound laying over here that I haven't answered yet that's come in. It's I don't ever send cards out hardly to request a card coming in, but I still get a lot of cards from the bureau, and I answer them all, or any direct cards that come in. I answer all of them. But I don't send too many cards out. I do all the LOGW and stuff like that. But no, I don't send out any direct cards unless it's something really super rare. And I have all the countries but one. And that's the only one I'd send one out direct for with any green stamps. So, over to KK1NG. Your turn. K6YK, go ahead.
Okay, John, thank you very much. This is KW1NG, Kilo Whiskey 1 November Golf. I think John had a noise burst there when he was copying my call.
Yeah, I think.
Anyway, Ken in Alpine, about 30 miles east of San Diego, running the Collins S-Line tonight. So, interesting topic. When I was younger, I've been licensed since 1968, so I was a novice then, and then I got active, I got deactive, active, depending on work, school, whatever, but in the mid-70s, I was fairly active, and I worked Kings of Spain, Jordan, JY1, and I got a QSL card from it. So somewhere in my box of cards that's out in the garage probably, since that was a couple of moves ago, I've got a JY1 card, and that's, I think, my pride and joy. My first contact was with my Elmer across town in Costa Mesa, and it was on a Heat Kit tour, the little lunchbox, Heat Kit lunchbox, on 2 meters, and I set up a code practice oscillator and a microphone. The microphone from the tour, because it didn't do CW, so we did what's called MCW, and it was with my Elmer across town there in Costa Mesa. So I remember that. That was kind of fun. All right.
we're running a little long here, so I'm going to push it on down to my buddy George, W6YEC. Take it away, KW1NG.
All right, thank you, Ken. Appreciate it, W6YEC. Hello to everybody. And we're out here at the shack tonight, running the TR4, driving a Sugar Baker 230 for a little extra power there. And the loop antenna, of course, up about 40 feet. Anyway, good question here tonight, Bob. Boy, it brings back memories. Yes, to the question, I do send and receive cards. In fact, I just was so surprised the other day, went to the mailbox, and there was an envelope from the Bureau, and I had a ton of cards in there. And I had forgotten all about the Bureau. And I guess I owe them a little money or something, and need to send them another envelope or something if I want to continue to receive from the Bureau. But it just took me by great surprise. Anyway, let's see, what else did I have down here? My QSL cards, some of them are, I'm looking at them right now, they're under the glass on my desk. And then I have, I have them in file, a file, card file area. And let's see. The one I like, really like, is the one was from Bernie, and I can't remember Bernie's call. I'd have to go grab it and see what it was. Anyway, he was a famous ham in the Los Angeles area, and he was a cinematographer at Universal. What do you call it? Studios. And picture on the card is Bernie with the Duke. John Wayne, his arm around Bernie. Bernie was his favorite cinema photographer, from what I understood, what Bernie told me. Anyway, he gave me a picture, QSL card with the picture of John Wayne. I sure like that card. And there's a lot of nice ones. Sometimes I've sat down to some and looked through them. And brings back a lot of memories. I can't tell you that I have the first card, but I do have cards from back in the early days, 1959, when I got started. I got my first license as a novice on CW. And that was a thrill to get cards. And so I do have those. So that's it on the QSL card. Anyway, thanks a lot. And back to you, I think, Bob, AK6R, W6YEC.
Yeah, W6YEC and Group AK6R. Very good, George. And boy, what fantastic stories. And I got a comment on your working K6LGL in 1983. That's 40 years ago. And I'm going to ask Skip. Do you remember working NY6L Skip over?
K6LK. The car was TV.
Yeah, roger that. I thought that was quite a kick. He was, KA6YIT, I think is what he said. I wrote it down here because I was going to check it out, but that's pretty coincidental that we got people on the net who worked each other 40 years ago and QSL'd and stuff. So that was, and Jay still has his log from those times. I don't think I got my logs from those times, but I sure got the cards. So hi. Because in those days everything was written by hand, and who knows where my handwritten logs are. I'm sure they're packed away somewhere. And boy, getting a card from JY1, that's got to be a thrill, Ken. That's a great story. And I changed your call to KW1NG here, by the way. And that's pretty neat. I remember working we were in a conversation on 80 meters with Joe Walsh, Art Bell, and Bob Heil and myself, probably 3 or 4 years ago when Art was still alive. and we all QSL'd with each other, and I thought that was kind of a fun thing just to say, oh yeah, I did it, and we all got our cards and stuff too. So, but yeah, the JY1 with King Hussein that's a wonderful story. And what else I have here, John in Stockton? Yeah, you had quite a story about your Afghan card too. I think that was pretty interesting. And it's not uncommon to get cards a year or two later from some of these DX stations, and they just take a long time to get here, or they send them all at one time, but they don't send them consistently. So sometimes it takes a long time to do that. I remember getting Russian cards back in the 1960s, when they couldn't say anything but their call sign and your report, and they couldn't talk about anything else. It was all hush hush, and we used to stray off a little bit on CW, but we soon got back on track. So it was kind of fun to get a card from them when it's kind of like being unlawful. You're working somebody you weren't supposed to in Russia in the 60s when communism was real big and all that good kind of stuff. So kind of neat to revisit those times and stuff. So anyway, great comments tonight from everybody, and the signals were pretty good too. Just about everybody was at least S9, and Jay, you were 20 over, and K6YK on that last round, you were about 10 over, and KW1MG, you were 10 over, and George, you're just a little bit above S9. It's not as strong as usual, but absolutely 100% copy. So I appreciate everybody checking in tonight, and I'm going to award a couple of awards tonight, and one of them is going to go to the Gold Cup's going to go to W8VG George. I just liked his story quite a bit, and the Silver Cup I'm going to give to the KW1NG for his JY1 card. I thought that was a pretty good story, and appreciate all the feedback that we got. So let me see if George has got some comments. W8VG, Gold Cup awarded tonight. What do you say, George? AK6R.
AK6R, W8VG. Well, thanks so much. If anybody's interested in the Jim Croce thing, somebody actually wrote an article on it, Bob. Long story short, there's a bunch of websites devoted to celebrity hams, and they've got the usual guys on there and some interesting folks. And I looked down one of those sites, and there was WN3OQW Jim Croce, Drexel, Pennsylvania, and it showed a picture of Jim Croce from one of his albums. And I thought, holy cow, he was one of my favorite guys in high school. And I looked at that card, and I thought, I have that card. And so I went down into the basement. I was living in Stafford, Virginia, there in the D.C. area, and I dug through my collection. I found it. It was a novice contact from when I was in Ohio there, a kid back in Ohio, in Cincinnati area from April of '71. So I was proud of myself. I got on my 40-meter AM group there. This was about 2007. It was talking it up. And one of my buddies said it'd be a great article for our newsletter. Send me the card. So I scanned and sent it to him. And he did some research. And he actually contacted Jim Croce's widow. I think she was in San Diego, running a restaurant called Croce's. And he wrote an article about it, but long story short, those websites are incorrect. It wasn't Jim Croce, it was his father. And the article is called A Ham in the Family, if you want to Google it up. And it's on W4AVA, Alpha Victor Alpha.org. It's the Arlington, Virginia Radio Club site. Kind of a cute little article, but I was a 14-year-old kid there. I'm surprised I remembered the card, but I did remember it and found the doggone thing, and that scanned card is in there. It was his father, so that was I've had a few celebrity contacts, but boy, that would have been one to brag about. Anyways, thanks so much, Bob, for the Gold Cup. Much appreciated here. AK6R, W8 Victor Golf.
Yeah, thanks for the follow-up on the story, George. It gets better as you keep talking, so we can revisit that later on. But yeah, I'm gonna go check out that website and see what it says. Over to KW1NG, Ken. You got anything else to say about your JY1 or anything about QSL cards? Over.
Well, just that I remember it very well. I know it's in a box in the garage with my other cards, because that was at my parents' house in the 70s when I was living with my parents still, and I had a tower there and a two-element beam. I had a Swan 500C, I think. That was I'm not sure if it was a CX. I think it was a C. And it was one of those packages, one of those weekend deals at Swan when you go up and you bought the radio, you buy the antenna, and I got the tower and the whole bit as a package. And I remember getting that, and that tower was put up at my parents' house in Bonita. And yeah, I used to work a lot of DX with that, and did a lot of phone patching too. Navy ships, I would stay with a Navy ship for hours running phone patches for them. So that was good time. So I don't know where that box is, but now you've pushed me to go find it and take a look at that card again. Thank you for the silver award. I like silver. I do collect it. So that's very good. All right, Bob. And we have met, by the way. And I am running one of your antennas. I've got your same antenna, the 95-foot long wire with the bullet at the bottom of it. So I find that antenna works quite well. All right, sir. Good evening, and thanks for the silver award, AK6R, KW1NG.
What about a pod, Bob? Okay, thank you. You may still be there.
What was that again, Skip? Go ahead.
Well, okay, 6LK, I think was trying to call you here a while ago. K6, Lima Kilo.
Oh, K6LK, you still, did you get back? Go ahead.
Yeah, I got back, Bob. I'll give you a call on the phone.
Anybody hear anything?
Hey, you was in there.
Yeah, he said he'd give you a call on the phone.
He'll call you on the phone, Bob.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Very good. And, let's see here. Why don't we award the Copper Cup? I guess we'll call it the Copper Cup tonight. And we'll give that to, let's see who we can give that to for the best story. I think I'm going to give it to Jay, NY6L, only because he brought up working Skip almost 40 years ago. I thought that was just a great coincidence. So, Jay, why don't you expound on that or whatever else you want, and congratulations on the Copper Cup.
All right, very good, Bob. Thank you very much. Wow. I'll have to add that polished cup to the shelf here. Yeah, I looked at my log here, and it says my first contact on 6 meters was Skip. I got it in my logbook here. June 27th of 1983 at 9 p.m., and we talked for a half an hour. We got done at 9:30 p.m., so we talked for a half an hour there. That's really amazing there. So thank you so much, Bob. Back there to you, AK6R, NY6L Hesperia.
Well, it's just amazing the coincidence that we have in all our years that we've been hams here. And I thank everybody for checking in tonight. The wonderful stories from everybody. And get your QSL cards out, and you can still play with them if you want. And put them up on your wall. You should be proud of it, because non-hams come into my shack and they say, oh, gee, you work this guy in this country. It's amazing that your little radio could talk to a guy in Mongolia, for example, or any parts of Russia, or places where they think it's almost impossible. But, when times get tough, we may need these radios to make our contacts, because there may not be any other way to do it. So thanks to John, if he's still listening, KOI, for taking the earlies. If not, thanks anyway. And 73s, good night, everybody, and we'll catch you down the bands. This is AK6R signing over, off, and clear. Anybody else want to make comments? Go ahead now.
Thanks, Bob, for running the net. You did a great job. It was a very interesting topic, and had a great time this evening. KW1NG.
Jay, you got robbed, man.
Hey, you got interesting stories. Thank you for all of them. K6LGL.
Good. 40-year-old contact and a story while both guys that were in the contact are on the net, and you walk over and pull out the log and give us the band, the time, how long you talked, and you only get copper. You were robbed!
What happened to bronze?
Oh, copper's worth some money, Jeff.
They lock it up in Home Depot. I knew that was Jeff stirring the pot. I knew he was back. I thought I heard him in there. KK6IRZ, shame on you.
I just got back. I only got to hear the last few stories, so I don't know what the other ones were. But I gotta say, that's pretty impressive to go grab the log, pull it out like that. I can't do that. No